Hey, today we're going to be doing something different.
Hi, I'm Rob Allen.
Hello, I'm Rob Allen.
Hi, I'm Rob Allen.
I'm Rob Allen.
What's really cool is this customer brought this love seat to our shop here. And if you'll notice here, I'd call it medium to heavy soil. The only reason I call it a little bit heavy soil is because it's just got some spills on it. That happens with customers, right? And this furniture right here is a very heavy duty furniture, and it's a synthetic. So we're going to go ahead on this side, even though Revive is made for naturals, it also works great on synthetics also, and we use Rave Spotter. On this side over here, we're going to be using Incap Green, and then we're going to be using the Spot and Boost Green. So they're great products. We're going to also be using the Smith sprayer to go ahead and apply it. Then they're going to agitate. On the hot water extraction, they'll be using a horsehair brush. On this side over here, he'll be using the new Versatool, and it's a really cool tool. Check it out. Now, I want to mention this while we're at it, is this is not about attacking a method. Okay, both methods basically have their place. The goal here is that you understand the pros, the cons, and the nuances so you will become more experienced and be able to give the customer the proper expectations with whichever method that you choose. You know, too many people attack methods instead of results. So let's check out the results. All right, I'm going to go ahead and have them go ahead and treat the spots first. On the hot water extraction side, we're going to be using solution, pre-spotting, agitation, rinsing, and then extraction. What are the advantages to hot water extraction? Of course, you get a deep flush, you get heavy soil removal, and residual removal. Basically, a lot of people consider, and I do too, hot water extraction as restorative cleaning, okay? Here on the VLM side though, this side uses very low moisture. Depending on the system, it might include encapsulation, absorbent pads, which we do have over here, and low moisture includes polymers and crystallizers, which will dry to a crystal and they'll vacuum off as soon as it's dried. This is more of a controlled agitation side over here. The advantages are it's a faster drying, it's a less risk of overwetting it. Generally, it's faster production, especially for carpets, and it reduces and eliminates wicking. Hey, pro tip, if you accidentally put just a little bit too much product down when you're working with VLM or even hot water extraction, take a dry terry cloth towel and go ahead and blot it. Once you blot that real good, Ed, and then you can go ahead and work the spots. There you go. Blotted that in there. And if you do decide to rub, which is fine, if you want to rub a little bit, rub gently because you can distort the fiber and really do some damage to it. But I always recommend blotting first. He's going to be using absorbent pads, and that's going to help quite a bit. Okay, guys, go ahead and do your pre-spray. I want to mention that when we're inside of homes, we either lay down moving blankets or we go ahead and use some floor protection. I highly recommend that. I've only got this piece of cardboard in here for a reason, and that is so they don't overspray either product, and they can go ahead and get a nice even distribution of their pre-spray. I like to take the time and really evenly put it all the way across it there, and then they're going to go ahead and take their agitation tools. Now remember, the Versatool can be used for either one of these sides, all right? But in this situation right here, he's probably just going to use the horsehair brush, which is what most people have, so I wanted a good illustration of that. But when it comes to VLM, I highly recommend a little bit more agitation. But this thing comes with 3 different types of brushes: blue, black, and white. I would use white with upholstery all the time. All right, so notice they're agitating. Ed's going to take the time. He's going to spend a little extra time where the spots are. Rob's going to be doing the same thing on this side over here. Now, as both techs are going through the whole cleaning process, I want you to pay very close attention to soil transfer, visual improvement, texture, moisture levels, and overall appearance levels. Remember, different fabrics respond different. Some upholstery responds beautiful to VLM. Others respond better with extraction. To me, there's no universal magic method. Just remember, think of it as just different tools. Okay, on this side over here, you're going to have Ed using the Versatool. He's going to go ahead and switch the brushes off. It's a Velcro head, so these pop right off. Go ahead and demonstrate how that pulls off, and these just pop right on, really simply. On this side over here, my son's going to be using my favorite tool, which is the HydroMaster Dry Master tool with the clear head. Can we get a good look at that, son? Hold that thing up there. She's a beauty, isn't she? And it's really solid and very durable. I really like the tool a lot, and all these are available at tmfshop.net. Now, you can go ahead and cut it on, guys. Go ahead and start cleaning. You know, I want you to notice something that I've noticed throughout the years is that carpet cleaners generally become loyal to a method rather than an outcome. And sometimes it turns into or a lot of times it turns into online, a battle of egos, online wars, and even pissing matches. Remember, customers care about results, dry times, appearance, texture, and professionalism. So make sure you look pro all the time. So every serious cleaner needs to understand that both methods have their strengths and they both have their weaknesses. Both are great tools, but know which tool is best for you in the situation that you're working with. Hot water extraction is best when flushing is needed, when you need that heavy restorative cleaning, especially when it needs more contamination removal. Think urine, vomit. Deeper rinsing is required in those situations. But if it's done wrong, you can overwet it, you can have longer drying times, and you can have wicking, shrinkage, browning, and even fiber distortion. Now, VLM is best when you just need faster drying, when it really matters. That's really important, okay? Also, it's great for maintenance cleans. A lot of people will basically clean when it's not as soiled or as a maintenance clean after they clean with hot water extraction, several follow-ups. Most times it's 1 hot water extraction and 3 VLMs. Kind of keep that in mind, especially when you're dealing with moisture-sensitive fabrics too. So speed is important, sensitivity is important, VLM is probably your tool. But remember, it also has its limitations, especially when it comes to soil loads, fiber types, and contamination levels. Also, technicians need to have a little bit more skill and a little bit more experience when you're dealing with this method right here. Regardless, they're still both great methods. Okay, now let's not forget when you're working with hot water extraction, it's going to look a little darker initially, but it's going to dry out a whole lot lighter. I'm not saying it's going to dry out lighter in this method right here, but it's going to dry out nice and light. Kind of think of it this way. When you get your clothes wet, notice they turn darker, but when they dry, they get lighter, right? Okay, Ed's going to speed this up, get a little more power. Go ahead, Ed. Power it up. They're finishing the back. Now I want you to get a nice close look at both sides. We'll bring the cameras over here. I want you to observe the brightness when they bring the cameras over, the texture, the uniformity, the overall appearance. You know, some might prefer one side over the other, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Clean is not always black and white. Remember that, okay? It's not about black or white. It's about living right and cleaning right, right? You know, I found one of the biggest mistakes in the industry is when cleaners become emotionally attached to a method. What does that do? It blinds them to the benefits. You know, to me, both methods I've found have their strengths and their weaknesses. I think it's really important just to make sure that you understand that you can adapt and pivot with the industry, because the industry is constantly changing and different things are improving. Hot water extraction is definitely a staple of the industry. But I'll tell you what, VLM, especially with evacuate chemistry, has come a long ways. So remember, don't worship a method. Instead, learn to understand and gain experience with chemistry and understand the moisture content of each. Learn your textiles, learn your soil conditions, and then most of all, be concerned about the results. Pro tip, I like to take a nice terry cloth towel, a white one, take it into the sink, some hot water, get it nice and wet and wring out the excess. Go ahead and use that for your spotting. It really helps for some transfer, especially if you're working with something like this right here. And you can see if there's any spots that are left over, but you don't see any residual on this, and that's a good sign. But you can also go ahead and use that for stains. Plus, you know, some older cleaners like myself, sometimes we like to do the shoe shine method on the arms. I don't know if you've ever done that, especially with the hot water extraction. So I don't see any transfer on there, and that's a good thing. Okay, we're all wrapped up. Now, it's not completely dry, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have George tomorrow do a complete once-over on the video camera, and that'll be here inside of this video. Now, I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Which side did you like better, the hot water extraction or the VLM? Please drop your comments down below. And remember, all these items are available at tmfshop.net, from the chemistry to the tools. We love being your supplier. Now, last observation I'd like to make, remember, experience and real-world testing is what really separates you more so than the methods. Just think of it as these are different tools, but they can basically almost accomplish the same thing in the customer's eyes, and maybe in your eyes if you take the time and really take some time and learn the methods yourself. Now, this is how the industry moves forward. by adapting, by pivoting, and cleaning properly. As always, remember we operate on the law of reciprocity. I believe if I help you become successful, you'll help me become successful. And I'm living proof of it at tmfshop.net. So we appreciate you supporting our small family business for all your cleaning needs. On top of it, please take the time to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. I'm Rob Allen with TruckMountForums. Have yourself a great day.